Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So friends, following the same pattern and the same theme which we have been following on my channel from the past couple of uploads, which has to do with the spirituality, which has to do with your past life. So in this video, we will try to understand the Venus karmas. You know that the topic which I select, it is always in harmony, in synchronicity with the governing theme at a time when I'm recording the video. So yeah, it is a Friday, the whole day, like in the morning I was listening to the Lakshmi Sahasranam. So I just thought we can have our discussion on the planet Venus only. So friends, as your chart in itself is a testimony of the seeds sown by you in past life, the kind of experiences which your soul has experienced in the past life. So in this video, we will try to look at the spiritual side of this placement of Venus in your ascendant chart, and I will try to add certain flavors of Venus's Navamsa placement as well. Let's try to package it in a single video discussion only, because friends, whenever we talk about anything to do with like your experiences in the matters of love, attraction, romance, desire, or the reproductive urge, sexual experiences, how tasteful you are, do you have the capacity to appreciate the beautiful things or not? So all of that we get to know from the planet Venus. See friends, I don't have to talk about other religion, other faith. Even if you have to take from the point of view of the Indian Constitution as well. So the Marriage Act was introduced around 1950s. Before that, the way Venus has been explained in the classics, like if Venus is in these particular placement, conjunction, combination, native will have the pleasure with many different women. So I mean to say, when we talk about the modern day and life and the changing governing laws of the society, you cannot restrict the energy of the planets, because this is something where you have to experience, because this is the karma which needs to be exhausted. Now for certain people this might happen through enjoyment, and for certain people it might happen through like struggle and hardship. So that is what we will try to understand in this video. See, couple of good friends of mine with whom I always discuss all these upload schedule of mine. So this friend of mine, he was like telling me, convincing me for long time that Nipun, why don't you in your videos start placing the shlokas and reference to the classics, because then it will attract the advanced and sincere astrology students. But my concern is that, see, if I'm offering a course to my students, I can explain it to you, because then I will be giving you a comprehensive picture. These kind of videos are standalone handpicked topics, and imagine if I will just give you the interpretation in the Bhrat Parashara, Hora Shastra, Fal Deepika, Saravali, that Saturn in the 8th house, you might die of the chronic disease. So I don't want to scare you of that. Like for example, I still remember someone in the comment section, he asked about that, okay, my this planet is placed over here. So another person commented on that, this is a Badhak placement, you're going to suffer. Now imagine the experience, or how the person who has asked that question about himself, what kind of like feeling he will get, because obviously that's a half-cooked picture. Even if a house, for example, for the movable signs, if the 11th house is the Badhak house, then that means that planet lord will become more problem causing if that planet also is the dispositor of the like the 64th Navamsa, of the Gulika, and of the 22nd Dreshkon. So there are like many combinations. So that is the only reason I sometimes refrain from exact interpretation of the classics and present it to you. So look at these kind of videos as an extract of what has been explained in the classics, my own interpretation, my own consulting experience, and combining everything, I try to present it to you. And also friends, like you are getting this information from a person who also has got very accentuated, very strong 8th house which is active in the Dasha, Ketu in my 5th house, Saturn in my 12th house. So that means cosmos are actually making me a medium to give these kind of information or present it in front of you. So okay friends, now after this we will like shift our discussion to the narration part, and yeah, whatever your findings are, on the presentation, on the explanation, do share that in the comment section. It's a research platform. We all learn from each other. Okay friends, now let's shift to the narration. In Vedic Jyotish, Shukra or Venus is not merely love, romance or luxury. Venus is the significator of rasa, emotional taste, bhog, enjoyment and bandhan, bonding karma. Like Venus decides how the soul learned to relate in previous incarnations and what it must now refine, correct or transcend through relationship. According to Bhrat Prashara Hora Shastra, Venus governs marriage and intimacy, sexual ethics and attachment style, agreements, contracts and harmony, and refinement of desire from crude to conscious. Phal Deepika adds that Venus shows how pleasures either liberate or entangle the soul. In karmic astrology, Venus reveals unfinished relational karma, especially any debt with partners, spouses, lovers, attachment carried across lifetimes, misuse or misuse correction of pleasure, beauty, power over others. Now friends, just because it is going to be a spiritual discussion as well, so we have to understand the whole script of Venus and the Venusian energies working in your life, like from the past, understanding it in the present, and what could be the probable future. So from a soul evolution point of view, Venus's placement in your ascendant chart tells about that in the past life, how love was used, abused, idolized or denied. In the present life, it talks about the relationship patterns that repeat compulsively. And regarding the future growth, it talks about the refinement of desire into devotion, respect and balance. As per the Jaimini Sutras, Venus operates strongly through Rashi Drishti, meaning the sign placement often matters more than the house for the karmic unfolding. So friends, now let's start our discussion. Let's say if you have Venus in the Aries in the D1 chart, it talks about the warrior's love karma. So it talks about, to begin with, in the past life, love was driven by conquest, urgency, ego or competition. Relationships were impulsive, often short-lived but very intense. Now friends, that is the rule which gets followed even in the animal kingdom, in the courting, or this could be also the case even in the Vedic Kal. Like there used to be the time when the princess and the prince, they used to get married, where all the potential candidates and the suitors have to participate in a competition to win over the princess. Along with that friends, when we talk about Aries, there is that sense of the guarding energy. This could be a case that even from the past, you have been guarding your partner, spouse, and those instincts, the protective instincts, come very natural to you in this lifetime. So all of that we get to know regarding the past life. Now when we talk about the present patterns, it talks about the attraction to dominant or unavailable partners. There's a high possibility of that, because see, when we talk about the Martian energy, the Mars energy might not be very suitable for us in all situations, because we say that with Mars there is that attraction, that sort of, in certain cases, the carnal desires which also comes into picture. When there is any involvement of the Jupiter, there are morals, ethics and righteousness which comes into picture. When Saturn comes, then the responsibility, distant vision, responsibility comes into picture. Same is the case even with Mercury. But when we talk about the involvement of the Mars, it's just like that we say that you are putting the clarified butter in the face of the fire. It will burn more. So that means there is very strong attraction. And sometimes in certain cases, it can also lead you towards those relationships where either the partner is already married to someone, the partner is unavailable, those kind of situation. So in the present life, Venus in the Aries talks about attraction to dominant or unavailable partners. It also talks about passion before compatibility. And in certain cases, love could also become a battlefield. Now comes the question that what is the karmic lesson for you with this placement? So this placement talks more about to transform desire into courage with emotional maturity. Venus here must learn patience in intimacy. Now the classical echo with this placement is that Brihad Samhita warns that Venus in the Mars ruled signs gives heat to relationship, requiring conscious cooling. Now, friends, let's keep on adding the flavors of the Navamsa placement as well. Now, we know this thing that in the advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is not just a supporting chart. As stated in the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, D9 is the Dharma Phal of the planets. What the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. Like if D1 chart shows how the love is pursued, D9 shows what love becomes. So Venus in the Navamsa talks about the true nature of the marriage karma. Whether love is pleasure based, duty based, debt based or the moksha based. What kind of past life relationship contracts mature in this life? So let's say for example if your Venus is placed in the Aries Navamsa, it talks about the marriage karma of the assertion and the conflict. The past life residue has to do with the relationship involved, dominance, impatience, or ego battles. Now, friends, I just want you to understand that whatever we have discussed for Venus being in the D1, and if you have to see the comparison, see, Venus in the D1 is impacting all areas of your life. It is talking about your like your choices in the relationship, your taste when it comes down to things which you want to purchase, you want to buy, people you get attracted towards. So Venus in the D1 give a comprehensive picture. But once we enter the D9 chart, it tells more about your luck in the courting, which has more to do with the writer's binding, which has more to do with the marriage. So it tells about Venus in the Aries Navamsa, tells more about the relationship involved, dominance, impatience or ego battle. This is something which happened or might have happened in your marriage, in your matrimonial life. And even in this lifetime, slight possibility of the power struggle, strong sexual chemistry, like sexual compatibility between the couple becomes very important. And arguments will act as a karmic release. The lesson for this person is love must mature from impulse to conscious choice. And this Navamsa often gives very fiery but unstable early marriages, stabilizing only after inner discipline. Okay friends, now we will switch back to the D1 chart. Let's say for example, if your Venus is placed in the Taurus, so what do we get to know from a spiritual standpoint of view? So it tells about that in the past life, there might have been strong attachment to the material pleasure, physical comfort, food, land, and sensual stability. In the present life, the pattern with which this energy will manifest results is loyal yet possessive relationship. There is also going to be fear of loss or change in love. It also talks about love equated with security. The karmic lesson with this placement is to move from ownership to appreciation, from attachment to contentment. And the spiritual refinement with this placement is from bhog to bhakti, like enjoyment refined into devotion. So this is a placement which talks about the soul of sensory mastery. Now friends, if you have to understand it or connect it with the D9 chart, like in the Taurus Navamsa. Now we know that in the advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is not just a supporting chart. As stated in the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, D9 is the Dharma Phala of the planets. Dharma Phal of planets. What the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. So if D1 chart shows how love is pursued, D9 chart shows what love becomes. So Venus in the Navamsa tells about the true nature of the marriage karma. Whether love is pleasure based, duty based, debt based or moksha based. And what kind of past relationship contracts mature in this life. Now friends, if your Venus is in the Taurus Navamsa, again, it talks about stable but attachment bound marriage karma. And this is giving us a pure insight the kind of results you will experience in the prospects of the marriage. And friends, I always say that D9 chart is the chart of your bhagya, of your luck. So that means, if let's say for example you have been very casual and then you complain that my relationship, why God, my relationship don't work out. Because if you want luck to be by your side in the matters of the courting, so you have to understand that with your Venus being in the Taurus Navamsa, it is asking you to give that commitment, like going for the people who could give you a long-term commitment, who could be loyal, becomes very important. So the past life residue with this Venus in the Taurus Navamsa manifest results as heavy attachment to the sensual pleasure, comfort or wealth through partners. This might have been the theme in the past life in the marriage, in the matrimonial bonds. The marriage experience in the present life talks more about like getting into the relationship which could be loyal, or where there is going to be long-term bonds or strong physical intimacy. There might be a fear of separation. The lesson for you is transform possessiveness into gratitude. And this is one of the most materially secure Venus Navamsa placements. So one thing is for sure, that life will not make you compromise or suffer in this area, that you will end up being in relationship or being married to a person who is not a very good provider. So that possibility is going to be very less. So with Venus being in the Taurus Navamsa. Now friends, let's now go back to the D1 chart. So if your Venus is in the Gemini, so which is a placement of the karmic storyteller. That means in the past life, relationships were based on intellect, wit, flirtation or duality. Emotional depth may have been bypassed. Now in the present life, it can give you multiple attraction, restlessness in the matters of the commitment, and love through conversation, not vulnerability. Now the karmic lesson for you with this placement is to integrate your mind with the heart, learning emotional continuity. And the Nadi Jyotish insight with this placement is Venus here often indicates unresolved karmas with sibling or parallel relationship. Now friends, if you have to connect it with let's say for example, if you have Venus in the Gemini Navamsa, so you would have understood that the Navamsa placement, like it tells more about, in the advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is just not a supporting chart as stated in the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. In D9 chart, it is the Dharma Phala of the planets, what the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. If D1 shows how love is pursued, D9 shows what love becomes. So Venus in the Navamsa reveals the true nature of the marriage karma, whether love is pleasure-based, duty-based, debt-based or moksha-based. What kind of past life relationship contracts matured in this life? And friends, in your case, because your Venus is in the Gemini Navamsa, it talks about the dual relationship karma. Like in the past life, in the marriage, there might have been concerns of emotional inconsistency, flirtation or parallel relationship. Now when I say the parallel relationship, it is open to interpretation as per the society norms. When we talk about the marriage experience, so mental connection might have been stronger than the emotional depth. See, the thing is friends, when it comes down to the air signs, so like see, if Gemini is air sign, Libra is also air sign, like Aquarius is also air sign. But the concern is that with Libra, there is still that tendency to look for deeper commitment. In Aquarius, you might find that the person will become philosophical, but still chances of the person going astray in the scale of the loyalty tend to remain very less. But with Gemini, there's a lot of the we say that like flirtatiousness and the sensuality and curiosity tend to remain very strong. So that is the only reason in the present life, when we talk about the marriage experience, there might have been mental connection which might have been stronger than the emotional depth, and talking will replace the feeling. and there might be on and off pattern. Like there have been those situations where, like, see, because I mentioned that parallel relationship, like people who have, they have not committed, they are in open relationship, so there is a phases or periods in your relationship, like a person enters your life, everything goes good, then suddenly the person goes away, and then you are not in connection, you're not in touch, and suddenly the person resurface, comes back. So that is kind of theme, like on and off kind of patterns. The lesson for you with Venus being in the Gemini Navamsa is learn emotional continuity, not intellectual avoidance, and it often indicates karmic links with two significant partners. There's a high possibility of that. Now friends, when we talk about if your Venus in the D1 chart in the Cancer, so this talks more about the maternal bond karma. Like in the past life, there might have been strong emotional dependency kind of patterns. Like this could be caretaker or emotionally bound roles in relationship. In the present life, this might tell about seeking emotional safety in partners, family karma bleeding into marriage, and there might be fear of abandonment. See friends, you have to understand that Venus does not see Cancer and the Leo as a friendly placement, like Sun and Moon as a friendly placement. And here we are talking about, see, Venus in the strong dignity will give you pleasure whether you want it or you do not want it. So that means if Venus is in a zodiac sign which is not a very favorable placement, so the natural signification of the pleasure which Venus represents, that might suffer. Like there, where you might have to demonstrate or display your love through nursing a partner, through taking care of partner, rather than like travel. See, there is going to be love, but love will not be expressed through a vacation, through buying expensive gifts, or through engaging into like sexual activities. It will be more expressed through taking care of each other. So, and when we talk about the karmic lesson, so the lesson for you is to love without emotional entanglement. And the classical hint, like we say that Faldipika notes Venus in watery signs intensifies the memory based attachment. Now friends, when we talk about Venus's placement in the Navamsa, so you would have understood so far that in the advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is not a supporting chart. As stated in the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, D9 is the Dharma Phala of planets, what the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. If D1 shows how love is pursued, D9 shows what love becomes. Venus in the Navamsa reveals the true nature of marriage karma, whether love is pleasure based, duty based, debt based, or moksha based. What kind of past life relationship contracts mature in this life? Now, just because your Venus is placed in the Cancer Navamsa, so deep and in the core of your matrimonial karma, it will talk about like some sort of emotional dependency. Like even in the past life, there might have been the concerns of like caretaker or dependent dynamics, unresolved family karma. Like the experiences of the marriage is going to be like emotional bonding might be very strong. Partner becomes like your home, or mood based attachment. See friends, like in some of the like in the countryside, in the like in some of the villages in India, like what happens is that the person get married and he's like already in military, in army, in defense forces, and sometimes he gets this vacation from the service just to go home, get married, and sometimes within a week he has to depart. So just like that, the partner he is married to is spending more time with his mother, more time with his parents. So this can give those kind of like outcomes. So the lesson for you is love without emotional fusion. Fal Deepika hints that watery Navamsas retain memory across birth, which we have already talked about. Now friends, in the D1 chart, if your Venus is placed in the Leo sign, like the royal heart karma, like see, this is one such kind of placement where even in the older times, like marriage used to be seen as a contract between different royal kingdom or the royal families. So talking about your past life with this placement of Venus, love might be mixed with power, recognition, or pride. Relationships used to affirm self-worth. Like many times you would have seen people who claim that I'm married to a very successful spouse, very successful partner. So this talks about that. Like even in the science of the palmistry, we say that if your union line is long enough to make a connection with the sun line, that talks about something like this. In the present life, this will talk about desire to be admired by the partner. Like there might be dramatic love stories, ego wounds in the marriage. The karmic lesson for you is to shift from being adored to offering warmth. The spiritual note with this placement is love will become sacred when ego will bow down. Now friends, if you have to understand if this is the Navamsa placement, so we know this thing that in advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is not just a supporting chart. As stated in the Bharat Parashara Hora Shastra, D9 is the dharma phal of the planets. What the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. If D1 shows how love is pursued, D9 shows what love becomes. Venus in the Navamsa reveals the true nature of the marriage karma, whether love is pleasure-based, duty-based, debt-based, moksha-based, or what kind of past life relationship contracts mature in this life. So now let's say for example your Venus is placed in the Leo Navamsa. Now this will give very core information regarding your matrimonial life. So the pride and recognition based marriage karma. In the past life, in your matrimonial life, love might be linked to the status, admiration, or the royal privilege. Like the marriage experiences in the present life is going to be that there is going to be need to feel special. Ego wounds through spouse. High possibility that your partner might be successful but will give ego tantrums. Or there might be some dramatic love cycles. The lesson with this placement of Venus in the Leo Navamsa is shift from being adored to offering warmth. And marriage becomes stable only when humility develops. Now friends, if in the D1 chart, if your Venus is placed in the Virgo zodiac sign, which in the astrological lore, in the astrological calculation, is seen as the weak placement of the planet Venus. So this can be seen as the correction karma. Now comes the question that if like universe has granted you this placement in this birth, what could be its connection with the past life? So friends, this talks about the misuse of the pleasure, moral excess, or indulgences which created karmic imbalance. Now in the present life, it will manifest in a form that your partner might be very critical, or there is going to be that guilt which might be surrounding the desire. So guilt around the desire, or there might be service based or duty bound relationship, like the way we have seen where one person is overwhelmed with the duties and responsibilities, or this could be a case that you are born in a faith like where desires are looked down. So this tells about this Venus being in the Virgo, and the karmic lesson for you is purification of the desire. Venus learns humility and sacred discipline. Now the classical authority on this placement is Parashara explicitly calls this a karmic purification placement, not the denial. So this is not a denial. It just has more to do with the karmic purification. Now friends, if you have to understand this placement in the D9 chart, for example, if you are born with Venus being in the Virgo Navamsa. So friends, we know this thing that like in the advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is just not a supporting chart. As stated in the Bharat Parashara Hora Shastra, D9 is the dharma phala of the planets. What the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. So if D1 shows how love is pursued, D9 shows what love becomes. So Venus in the Navamsa reveals the true nature of the marriage karma, whether love is pleasure-based, duty-based, debt-based, or moksha-based, or what kind of past life relationship contracts mature in this life. Now talking about your Venus being in the Virgo Navamsa, it is a very karmic placement. Again friends, Venus in the Virgo in the D1 chart is different compared to Venus in the Virgo in the Navamsa. That means deep within marriage, these were the experiences or these were the actions which were taken, and it is indicating more towards purification of the desire. So, talking about the past life residue, there might have been the concerns of the misuse of sexuality, indulgence, or relational imbalance. In the present life, deep within the marriage, there might be concerns of delay, dissatisfaction, or criticism, or there might be service based or corrective unions. There might be guilt around the pleasure. Now, the lesson for you with this placement is about Venus here is not cursed, it is being refined. And classics see this as karmic cleansing, not a denial of marriage. Knowing that becomes very important. Now, friends, if in the D1 chart, in the ascendant chart, your Venus is placed in the Libra, in its own sign. Now, this talks more about the balanced soul. Like even in the past life, you might have developed relational wisdom, fairness, and diplomacy. In the present life, it will manifest in the form of strong marriage karma. That means the partner, relationship, companionship will play a very significant role. Friends, I always say this thing, like if you have to actually judge the success of someone, and here I'm not talking about the probable future, I'm talking about if you are already in your 60s, let's say for example, and you know that you have had a best phase of the life from 35 to 40 years of the age. So it's not only about that you were enduring the results, it's just like that your energies were so harmonious. Give a proper thought that which all people were in your life during that time, because their energies also contributed to your success. We live in a society where solely as a lone wolf you cannot achieve everything. So I mean to say, when your Venus is in the Libra, it is a very balanced kind of placement. So because of which you will see that in the D1 chart, Venus in the Libra, about the past life, it talks about that you might have developed that relational wisdom, fairness, diplomacy, which comes very natural to you. In the present life, strong marriage karma, need for equality and harmony. You might have difficulty choosing between two paths. If like Venus has got the influence of the Rahu as well, because within the Libra, you will find the nakshatra of the Rahu as well, like Swati. So there might be difficulty in certain cases choosing between two paths. Now, the karmic lesson for you, you have to avoid over compromise at the cost of truth. And in the higher octave, this talks about union as dharma. Now friends, now if you have to understand, if your Venus is in the Libra Navamsa, now you would have understood so far that in the advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is not just a supporting chart. As stated in the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, D9 is the dharma phal of planets. What the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. If D1 shows how love is pursued, D9 shows what love becomes. So Venus in the Navamsa reveals the true nature of the marriage karma. Whether love is pleasure-based, duty-based, debt-based, or moksha-based, what kind of past life relationship contracts mature in this life. Now talking about if your Venus is placed in the Libra Navamsa, deep within the marriage or in the matrimonial life, in the matters of the courtship, companionship, you will see a balance and a dharmic marriage karma. Like it tells about that in the past life, in the marriage, in the matrimonial scenarios, there were well-developed relational ethics. In the present life as well, there is going to be a strong marriage promise. See, Venus in the Libra Navamsa, that in itself tells about, like let's say for example, as per the norms of the society, if marriage is a pressing issue for you and you're not being able to get married or find someone, but if your Venus is in the Libra Navamsa, that in itself is a good sign that there is that strong marriage promise which you have. And within the marriage, there is going to be mutual respect. It is going to be a harmony focused union. The lesson for you is avoid losing self in the compromise. And this Navamsa often gives marriage that stabilize your destiny. Now friends, let's say for example, if your Venus in the D1 chart is placed in the Scorpio, like this talks more about the soul bond karma. Like In the past life, there might have been intense, secretive, taboo, or traumatic love bonds, like possibly betrayal, or there might have been concerns of the power struggle. Now, how it will manifest in the present life? So, the present patterns are going to be obsessive attachment, sexual magnetism, and there might be fear of vulnerability. The karmic lesson with this placement is transmutation of desire into emotional truth and surrender. And the Nadi tradition talks about this placement of Venus as this placement often indicates past life sexual or occult bonds. Now, friends, now when we talk about if Venus is placed in the Scorpio Navamsa, it is placed in the Scorpio, but in the Scorpio Navamsa. So friends, I am sure you would have understood the pattern. In the advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is not a supporting chart. As stated in the Bhrat Prashara Hora Shastra, D9 is the Dharma Phal of the planets. What the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. If D1 shows how love is pursued, D9 shows what love becomes. Venus in the Navamsa reveals the true nature of the marriage karma, whether love is pleasure-based, duty-based, debt-based, or the moksha-based. What kind of past life relationship contracts mature in this life? Now friends, just because you have got this placement in the Navamsa, deep within the marriage, and the courting experience, the matrimonial experiences. So it talks about the intense soul bond and trauma karma. Like in the past life, there might have been concerns of sexual, like the past life residue. The past life residue as experienced by the native in the marriage is sexual, secret, obsessive, or manipulative relationship. Like let's say for example, if you are in a marriage right now where your partner has got that cheating tendency, so this is something which has been sown in the past, which is giving you result in this life. In the present life, the marriage experience is going to be deep attachment. There might have been concern of power struggle, and in certain cases transformational pain as well. The lesson with this placement is transmute your desire into emotional truth and surrender. Nadi text link this to the past life sexual vows or betrayal. Now friends, when we talk about if in the D1 chart your Venus is placed in the Sagittarius, it talks about the philosopher's love. Like in the past life, love linked with belief system, teachers, or ideological differences. In the present life, it will manifest through attraction to foreign or spiritually inclined partners, conflict between freedom and commitment. The karmic lesson for you is to align your values with the intimacy. See, the concern is that this is one such area which has been looked in a different lens, in different faith, in different religion. So all what you have to do is that you have to align these values of yours with intimacy. So if you are in a faith, if you are born in a faith where like open conversation about intimacy, about sex is allowed, then that's how you have to align yourself. But if you are in a faith, in a religion, in a belief system where it is looked down to talk openly about it, then you have to follow that. So that means you have to align your values with intimacy and based on the governing norms in your faith, in your belief system. And the spiritual aim for you with this placement of Venus in the Sagittarius in the D1 chart is love as shared dharma. So now friends, if you have to understand this placement in the Navamsa, like your Venus is in the Sagittarius Navamsa, so I am sure that you would have understood the pattern so far. In the advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is not a supporting chart. As stated in the Bhrat Prashara Hora Shastra, D9 is the Dharma Phal of planets, what the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. If D1 shows how love is pursued, D9 shows what love becomes. Venus in the Navamsa reveals the true nature of marriage karma, whether love is pleasure based, duty based, debt based, or moksha based, and what kind of past life relationship contracts mature in this life. So, now talking about specifically if your Venus is in the Sagittarius Navamsa, this is kind of a dharma centered marriage karma. Like that means in the deep within the bonds of the marriage, even in the past life, love was connected to belief, teachers, or ideology. Like in the present life, the marriage experience are going to be intercultural or long distance theme, and there might be some value clashes before the harmony. And the lesson for you is align your belief system with intimacy. Knowing that becomes very important. Again, friends, I always say when we talk about the dharma and the teaching, you have to find your personalized dharma, what resonate more with you. And marriage thrives when shared philosophy develops. Now, friends, when we talk about if your Venus in the D1 chart is in the Capricorn, so this talks about the debt based love karma. Like in the past life, relationship were formed out of duty, survival, or social obligation. Even in the present life, there is a slight possibility of like this could be a delayed marriage, or there might have been age gap, or love tied to responsibility. Now, the karmic lesson with this placement is to soften your control and allow emotional warmth. The classical note for this placement is Venus here matures late but gives lasting bond once karma ripens. Now, talking about the same placement of Venus but in the Capricorn Navamsa in the D9 chart. So friends, I'm sure you would have understood the gist. In advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is not a supporting chart. As stated in the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, D9 is the dharma phal of planets, what the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. If D1 shows how love is pursued, D9 shows what love becomes. Venus in the Navamsa reveals the true nature of marriage karma, whether love is pleasure based, duty based, debt based, moksha based, and what kind of past life relationship contracts mature in this life. Now, friends, like specifically focusing on this Venus in the Capricorn Navamsa in your case and decoding your matrimonial karma. So this talks about the debt based delayed marriage karma, like even in the past life. The past life residue as experienced by the soul in the marriage is relationship formed out of duty, obligation, or survival. The marriage experience might be delay or late marriage in the present life. There might have been age gap or responsibility over the romance. Lesson for you is allow softness and vulnerability. Parashara notes such Venus matures late but endure longest. Now friends, coming back to the D1 chart, if your Venus is placed in the Aquarius, this talks about the detached karmic experiment. It talks about that in the past life, there might have been unconventional or non-traditional relationship, and there might have been emotional detachment. In the present life, it will manifest results as there might have been sudden attraction, fear of emotional dependence, or love through friendship. The karmic lesson for this native is to integrate human warmth with individuality. Now friends, if the same placement is in the Navamsa, like you have Venus being in the Aquarius Navamsa, so friends, I'm sure you would have understood the gist. In the advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is not a supporting chart. As stated in the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, D9 is the dharma phal of planets, what the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. If D1 shows how love is pursued, D9 shows what love becomes. Venus in the Navamsa reveals the true nature of marriage karma, whether love is pleasure based, duty based, debt based, moksha based, or what kind of past life relationship contracts mature in this life. So now friends, specifically looking at this Venus in the Aquarius Navamsa placement, so it talks about unconventional and detached marriage karma. Like in terms of the matrimonial experiences which are coming in from the past. So the past life residue is non-traditional unions, emotional detachment. See friends, when we talk about the planet Saturn, Saturn is most dutiful. Like this could be a spouse, a person who pays the bill, who bring the gift, but does not show too much, does not demonstrate too much. So this has been the residue from the past life, non-traditional union or emotional detachment. The marriage experiences in the present life could be friendship based marriage, sudden unions or separation, and there might be need for space. Now talking about the lesson, humanize love without losing individuality. It often gives karmic lessons through non-conforming partners. And lastly friends, if you have to understand Venus being in the Pisces, which is seen as its exaltation placement. See, the beauty of this Pisces sign is that Jupiter owns this sign. This is the final gateway or doorway to the moksha, because Ketu also rules it. And also when we talk about the exaltation of Venus in the Pisces, it also talks about unconditional surrender, like completely losing yourself in love, in devotion. So this can be labeled as the final love karma placement. Like it talks about the past life as devotional love, sacrifice, spiritual union, or renunciation. In the present life, the result will manifest as the present patterns are going to be idealization of the partners, boundary issues, divine longing projected onto humans. Like these are those females, especially I have seen, they idolize their husband, their spouse, they respect their spouse, their partner a lot, and even if they will embrace any guru in their life, they surrender themselves, they actually respect a lot. The karmic lesson with this placement is to distinguish human love from the divine love. And the classical authority on this placement is Prashara states exalted Venus gives moksha oriented refinement of desire. Now friends, if you have to understand the same placement in the Navamsa, like your Venus is in the Navamsa in the Pisces sign, so you would have understood the gist. In advanced Jyotish, Navamsa is not a supporting chart. As stated in the Brihat Prashara Hora Shastra, D9 is the dharma phal of planets, what the planet ultimately delivers after karmic ripening. If D1 shows how love is pursued, D9 shows what love becomes. Venus in the Navamsa reveals the true nature of marriage karma, whether love is pleasure based, duty based, debt based, moksha based, and what kind of past life relationship contracts mature in this life. Now friends, are talking exclusively for this placement of Venus being in the Pisces Navamsa, this is the highest dignified state of Venus. It talks about the moksha oriented love karma, like talking about your matrimonial experiences coming in from the past. So the past life residue is of devotional love, sacrifice, spiritual unions. The marriage experience could be idealization of the partner, boundary dissolution, divine longing projected onto the spouse. And the lesson with this placement, which can be implemented in your present matrimonial life, you have to differentiate the human love from the divine love. And as per Prashara, this Venus grants liberation through refined desire. So friends, the final synthesis is that Venus ultimately teaches how desire becomes wisdom, how attraction becomes awareness, how love becomes liberation. To judge Venus karmically, always integrate the sign dignity, dispositor strength, Venus's D9 placement, Rahu Ketu influence, and the Dasha activation. Because I always say this thing that Venus in the Navamsa answers one question: what does the soul finally learn through the love? Some learn pleasure, some learn discipline, some learn sacrifice, some learn detachment, some learn devotion. But no Venus placement is accidental. So okay friends, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. Once again, Thanks a lot for watching this video, and for further more updates and notification on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. धन्यवाद.